watching this training video because you've been thinking about creating a service learning project for college students at your agency, or perhaps a faculty member has contacted you, and perhaps you've been thinking about contacting an instructor. This presentation is designed to help you and your agency think about the whole process to create a great experience for you, those you serve, and for college students and their instructor. But first things first, what exactly is service learning? Service learning is a form of experiential education in which students engage in activities that address human and community needs together with structured opportunities, intentionally designed to promote student learning and development. Reflection and reciprocity are key elements of service learning. Reciprocity is depicted by the hyphen in service learning. A service is provided as part of the learning process, and at times it's difficult to tell the difference between the giver and the recipient of the service. That's because service learning is a win-win partnership. Community partners have an active role and say in what takes place during service. Service learning is an intentional and sustained partnership in which a professor and students work with you and your organization to help you meet a goal or a need. You are a co-educator in the process. But it's important to know what it's not. It's not volunteering. Students are assigned to do the service, like a reading or writing assignment that's connected to what they're learning in class. And it's not a service project that's a one-time event like a food drive. Nor is it student teaching or a practicum. Those are designed to have students demonstrate mastery of skills to earn a license, while service learning is a win-win partnership. And it's not an internship. An internship is a temporary skill development opportunity to learn about careers. Service learning can take many formats, and historically, service learning has been a direct service, with students working directly with clients or a particular setting. This might be tutoring, being a companion for the elderly, or doing trail restoration. But we urge you to consider projects that promote capacity building by empowering your agency with new resources or programs that you can use long after the students are gone. Consider projects with multiple stages that can be carried out over time. Community-based research can take place through service learning. This is when students in a service learning class may be able to help your agency by doing community-based research, or CBR. Now, this is not research on or about your agency. This is research with and for your agency. Community-based research is a collaborative and mutually beneficial enterprise between researchers and community partners that addresses social issues through research and actions that are a benefit to an organization and its community, and to disseminate new knowledge. The research is directly tied to instructional objectives of a course. Here's some examples. An education class may be working with a local school to do research on family involvement to create an after-school or evening program. A botany class might be working with the county park system to do a study on plant propagation and irrigation. They might also be having students identify native plants that can be part of a catalog. A chemistry class might be doing soil analysis for a community garden, or water analysis of streams in a neighborhood, or doing lead paint analysis for old buildings. A sociology or political science class might be doing policy briefs on best practices, or they could be doing research on renters' rights. They could be creating a program to do payday loan education for people in poverty, or they could be working with community organizers to do asset mapping of a neighborhood. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? But before you jump on this bandwagon thinking you're getting a whole bunch of extra hands to help your organization, there's a lot of upfront work, so you can see if you really want and need a service learning project. And then there's ongoing work to coordinate it. What are some areas that could use some help? Perhaps it's communication with your constituents, or doing research into trends and best practice. You might need help developing a new program or evaluating an existing program. Or maybe you have a whole bunch of data and information sitting around waiting to be analyzed. Program services such as training or recruitment efforts may need to be addressed. You might have marketing needs in which you look at print materials, your web design, or video. You might need to do some program evaluation that involves surveys, interviews, or doing reports. Or you may need some direct service in which college students are working directly with your clients. Let's pause the video for a moment. Brainstorm some possible areas where you could use some help. Prioritize those areas and choose one or two. Welcome back. Use these areas you and your staff have identified as a starting point to conceptualize and develop a service learning project. Take each one of the areas you selected and break them down into projects that could be done in 12 to 14 weeks by a group of students. Here's an example. One agency identified 3 areas of need: marketing, volunteer training manuals and videos need to be developed, and conducting client satisfaction surveys. But this group chose to focus on marketing, and they broke that down. They thought about evaluating the effectiveness of their current marketing tools. That might help them devise or revise their marketing plan. Then they might break the marketing plan into components and outline the marketing project into a sequence of 1 semester steps. So they took that first factor, evaluating effectiveness of their current marketing tool. That might mean creating a survey, conducting the survey, collating the responses, and then writing a report to propose a revised marketing tool. The team looked at these 4 activities and determined it would take about 3 weeks per step for 12 weeks. And that just happens to be a perfect service learning project for a small group of 3 or 4 students, because that's all the agency could handle at the time, over the course of a 12-week semester. Now, this last item of writing a report and proposing a revised marketing tool, that leads into the second thing that they had on their list, to devise and revise a marketing plan, which just so happens to be another project for another semester in the future. Take one of your ideas on your list and break it down into steps that a group of students could do in 12 to 14 weeks, just as was shown in the previous example. Then resume watching this video presentation. You and your staff will want to do the same kind of mapping out for all the potential projects you've identified. And then you'll be good to go with multiple ideas when you explore service learning projects with an instructor. But you're going to have to think about a whole bunch of questions and logistical coordination. Things like, how many students will it take to do the project, and how many students can you realistically handle? What staff person will supervise and coordinate the student work? What resources will be needed to get the student project accomplished? What level of skill and knowledge do the students need to have and use? What academic discipline at a college might be attracted to this project? Take a moment to discuss each of these questions and then resume viewing this presentation. Next, you need to write up a project description. You'll need to describe and define a clear set of outcomes or a deliverable. Specify the resources such as people, funds, working space, and materials that you're going to need. Lay out a timeline of start and ending dates. Identify and list a point person for each step that the instructor and students will work with and contact. Also, determine the level of authority and decision-making students will have. Why write this up? Well, it helps you get your head around it, and everyone is literally on the same page, and this provides direction for the project. It maximizes getting those deliverables that you need, and it enhances and promotes long-term partnerships, and you need to do this for each project on your list. Now it's time to have a discussion with the instructor. Ask to see a copy of the syllabus. Determine if there's a match between the instructional objectives of the course and your goals and needs. Invite them out to your site for a discussion. That way they get a lay of the land and, well, you get to check them out as well. Discuss how many hours students will work and when. Determine beginning and ending dates. And decide how and when you will communicate with each other. Ask about the student skill levels. Discuss transportation and safety procedures. Talk about background checks if that's necessary. Explore your role, if any, in assessing the students, doing class presentations, or conducting reflection with students. This is a courtship process, and you want to determine if this relationship is going to work out, or will you simply part as good friends. Then, if the project's going to take place, you'll need to provide a great orientation for the students. Provide an overview of your agency's mission, history, philosophy, and clientele you serve. Be welcoming and enthusiastic about the project and their participation. Remind them of their important role as paraprofessionals rather than as volunteers, because everyone is counting on them. Provide an introduction to key personnel and contacts at your agency. Provide a brief description of the project. Discuss policy and procedures for things like checking in and signing out. Discuss your professional expectations, things like confidentiality or how to dress and behave. Pause the video. Discuss and consider and list the content for your orientation with students, and then resume viewing this presentation. Throughout the semester, you're going to have ongoing interactions. Check in with the instructor on a regular basis. Check in with students and use the action plan you developed. Now, it's important to anticipate bumps along the way. They're going to happen. And when they do, engage in immediate, open, and honest discussions. Don't wait or ignore the problems just to be polite if you have issues or concerns. This has been a quick overview to provide you and your organization some ideas on how to conceptualize and develop service learning projects with college professors and students. And just so you know, instructors have seen a similar video presentation to help them have a meaningful conversation with community partners like you to conceptualize and develop service learning courses. Thanks.